Rick Himmelheinz, present.
Matthew Schultz, present.
Tiana Duncan, present.
Matt Fitzgerald, present.
Shelley Oren, present. Cara Frangipani, present.
Mel England, present.
Michael Chisholm, present. So thank you. Like I said, we've got a lot on the agenda, so forgive me in advance if I'm pushy and I'm getting people moving. Welcome to our guests. Why don't our guests introduce themselves?
My name is Nancy Fenton. I work as the Department Administrator in Community Development, and I have the distinct pleasure of running two of our housing programs. One is for energy efficiency and others for home repair improvement.
Great, wonderful. Sharif.
Nancy also is like Miss Englewood. She runs it all. She's being so humble. Nancy does so much.
I serve with you on the Urban Renewal Authority. Is that right?
That's right to your face.
And then we should have two other guests joining us. I'm assuming they'll hop on here in a little bit, and they're the other panelists.
Great.
So.
Okay, moving on to approval of minutes. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes. We have corrections, additions, deletions, edits. I would entertain a motion if it's possible. Rick?
I motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Thank you. Okay. Okay, we're going to get right into it. I think we'll start with Nancy.
Yeah, this is actually perfect.
Perfect.
Take it away.
So as I said, thank you for having me here this evening. I am passionate about this program. It's been in existence for about 10 years, and we've been able to assist well over 100 homeowners. So the Englewood Energy Efficiency Program, we call it affectionately E3, is designed to improve the energy and water efficiency of owner-occupied homes within Englewood. And
I'm so sorry. Will you share your screen so that it's recorded?
oh,
So the PowerPoint shows up on here, but you have to log into the meeting and then share screen
there we go.
for it to do it.
Great.
My apologies. Of course. I can find the link. I know you sent me a link, didn't you?
I hope I did. I think I did.
You don't. There it is, join.
Yes.
Oops.
Yes.
I wonder if- My apologies.
And then if you mute your computer, else it'll echo at you.
Okay.
I've
Are
learned
you
that
muted?
very much the hard
Yes.
way.
I'm now going to find my PowerPoint right here.
Perfect. Yep. You're good.
Hold on, slideshow.
Hi, Chelsea.
Okay.
Oh, hello, everyone.
So the grant funding that we receive is through the Community Development Block Grant funding from HUD, affectionately known as CDBG funding. The city applies each year for that funding, and Arapahoe County determines the amount that we received. So cities such as Aurora that have more than 50,000 citizens are considered an entitlement company, and they get direct funding. The city of Englewood does not have that many citizens, as you well know. So we apply, and Arapahoe County is sort of what considered as our parent, and then they disperse. So we may apply for, let's just say, $200,000, and we may only get $100,000 because they're dispersing the funding that they get from HUD to other in other cities such as Sheridan, other smaller type cities. So for our 2023 budget, we applied, we received about $115,000, which covers about 12 grants. So the grant amounts are $8,000 for each homeowner that qualifies. And then the homeowner is required to have a $2,000 match. Well, you know, sometimes I'm working with a lot of seniors, a lot of really low income people, and they don't have $2,000. So what we can do in that instance is we put what's called a declining lien on the property. So a deed of trust and a promissory note are executed. The deed is recorded for $8,000, and that declines by $2,000 each year for 4 years. At the end of 48 months, that lien is released. So as long as the homeowner is going to be in their home, you know, for the full 48 months, there's no cost to them. If they, for whatever reason, have to move or there's a death, let's say it is at year 4, then whatever that amount is paid back out of the proceeds of the sale of the home. So it's truly a grant. In the lien is for the $2,000 match, just so we can help. So eligibility for this program includes low to moderate income Englewood homeowners. Rental properties are ineligible. Homeowner, we try to encourage home ownership and improvement so that residents can stay in their home and improve their homes and make them more sustainable and energy efficient. So eligibility is verified by staff. They have to provide proof that they own the home, bank statements, any income statements, and it follows the HUD income guidelines that are published every year. Once they're approved, an energy audit is conducted at the home at no cost to the homeowner. It's covered as part of the grant funding we receive for administrative costs. And then they also have to have a lead-based paint test conducted on their homes if it was built prior to 1974. And so for the energy audit, they'll go through, they do what's called a blower door test, and they'll see where the home is losing energy. And then from there, the technician creates a report as to the items that they should consider in a list of highest priority down of what they should consider to improve on their home. Arapahoe County requires us to ensure the homeowners follow that priority list. So let's say Logan wants windows and they do the energy audit and it's like, yeah, that would be a nicety, but you know, you need to increase the insulation on your home. So we're going to require you to put in insulation first, because that's where you're going to get your best return for investment. So here's a list of somewhat of the eligible improvements we have. Insulation, energy efficient furnaces we're now doing because HUD has come along. They're now allowing for heat pumps and water heaters, windows, storm windows and doors, and then any items that we are identified as imminent hazards. So for example, I had a homeowner that needed to do attic insulation, and when the contractor got up there, like, oh no, there's old knob and tube, it's a fire hazard. So we could take this money and also help upgrade the electrical wiring in that home so that they could then get to the end result of increasing their insulation. So there's a little bit of flexibility. So non-eligible improvements are appliances. Years ago when I first started this, we were able to do energy efficient front load washing machines when those were new, because those were saved on water. We were able to do dishwashers. HUD has gone back and said, no, we can't do that. They've narrowed their focus. Some homes have asbestos removal, especially when you have old boilers, the octopus boilers down in the homes, those can have asbestos. Unfortunately, with this program, we can't do asbestos removal. We can use another program to help homeowners with that. We can't just do repairs like the, think of something. My window has a crack in it, you know. We can't just replace and repair that window pane. We'd have to do all of that. And the other things that are ineligible, if they're not listed in the energy audit, we unfortunately can't touch them. And I'm open for questions. What I could use from this commission is spread the word that this program exists. We used to have a waiting list, and we've done away with the waiting list because we have another program, our home repair and improvement program, that I can funnel people in through as well. So as I said, we've assisted about 100 homeowners within Englewood over the last 10 years. And the funding, I'd have asked for increased funding for this following year for 2024. We'll see what HUD does. So I'm available for any questions. And thank you again for having me.
A question.
Of course.
I'm assuming it's a one-time deal when a person applies and gets this?
That's an excellent question. It is not. I have had repeat homeowners because they can do, let's say, a furnace, especially with inflation costs. Furnaces now can be up over or close to $8,000. So they're only able to get one item on their list.
Mhm.
So if their next list is, let's say, windows or whatever it might be, they can apply again.
Okay.
And if someone who, let's say Logan, I'm going to call on you a lot tonight.
That's why I sat here.
But Logan comes in and he hasn't used the program,
Okay.
he's going to get first.
Okay.
So I have not ran into that though, where
Yeah.
lately.
And you don't have any money left over at the end of the year. I imagine every dollar gets,
We do our best to
Somewhere,
spend every dollar back into the community to help our homeowners.
Okay, clarification. So the energy audit basically drives this.
Yes,
Is that correct? Okay,
Correct.
so anything that comes into that audit, under that audit, as this, and is there a priority within that audit, or is it the homeowner make that priority? How's that handled?
so what I tell my homeowners are, so yes, let me chunk that out if you don't mind. The energy audit does drive the repairs as long as they're eligible under HUD. Because I've had some come back and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, sorry. A bathroom fan, let's say. And I'm like, we can't cover that. That's not tied to energy efficiency by HUD. But yes, the energy audit, and they prioritize. Now, I do tell my homeowners when they come in to apply, let the technician who's coming to do the energy audit know what your priorities are.
Right.
And they can do some adjusting. I mean, but they really are going to look at if insulation's what's going to get you the best savings on your energy bill. They're going to say, yeah, okay, I'll maybe move windows up, but you've got to do insulation first. I mean, they're not hard and fast, but
Will you go back to what's covered?
of
Or can you?
course, of course.
And
Right there.
you said you're applying, you can ask for a certain amount of money.
Mhm.
What comes back seems to be determined by the county.
Correct.
Does proof of participation or expected participants help the grant amount? If you were to say we have X amount of participants ready,
Yeah, and I have to file reports to the county on a quarterly basis showing, they don't have to have their names, but they need to have their address, what improvements were done, the amount spent. So it's a two-edged sword in that depending on our HUD at the federal level and what their budget is and what gets approved, that comes down. So I could ask for $1 million, but HUD's budget may be only $500,000. And so whatever the county gets from HUD, then they disperse, yes, down to the cities. But yes, showing what success the program has been, what improvements we've done,
that helps your case.
it helps tremendously.
What local municipalities are a part of this? You said Sheridan.
I know Sheridan, Foxfield.
Okay.
There's a consortium that,
It's a little too big.
Littleton is part of it. No, you have to have 50,000. Yeah, so I think it's 3 or 4. Greenwood Village, but they run into issues with eligibility, income eligibility.
I follow.
They tend to be a higher income demographic than others.
So Archie is kind of a prime target for this, I would assume.
It is, but you know, the demographics of Englewood are changing, so it's.
More referring to the home ages.
Yes,
some of
yes.
that kind of stuff.
any other?
So clarity on the prioritization, is it based on what would decrease energy cost the most or like overall energy usage in the home?
Both.
Okay. And do they take into account, like, if you get better ROI for installing this big equipment, does it go higher up or?
Yeah, so what they're
Trying
gonna
to make
do
the most
is
of the
if they
grant.
go and their priority is a furnace because it's 30 years old. They're gonna come back and do that test and say, oh yeah, you're wasting a lot of energy because it's an old furnace. So your options are gonna be, you gotta do a 90% or higher energy efficiency furnace, or you can go the heat pump route, which is even more efficient.
Can people pay to have the audit done if they're not low to medium income?
They can, so that is an excellent question. Yes, I think Excel Energy actually does audits for homeowners that you can pay for. And the company I use is a private company. They're less expensive and than going through Excel, and plus they're more timely. And can get it turned around within about a week. And I've worked with them probably for the last 8 years. And so what they do, there's a rebate on these audits. and they just take the rebate off the top, and then they just charge the remaining, it's like $185. So, and it takes that burden off the homeowner, because we get into that too, where with the county, so if you're getting a $200 rebate, I've got to report that to the county because it goes against the funds that they're receiving. So, but the company doing, which is completely legal, and the county is fully aware of that, then it takes that off the homeowner. They don't have to submit, you know, and provide that money back into the program. So,
Is the application online?
the application is online.
You want us to spread the word, so tell us how to do that the most.
Just talk to talk to your neighbors, talk to anybody you know, have them email me.
No, you, okay.
And yes, under community development and housing on the website, there are 2 links, one under housing, one for the energy efficiency program, one for the home repair and improvement program. And I'll just touch on that just briefly so you know what the difference is. I can do energy efficiency under the home repair, we call it HRIP. We try to use all our CDBG grant funding first. The funding for HRIP comes from a housing fund that is perpetuated from an old program that the city had. So it comes out of those housing funds. And those can do more things like ADA, safety issues. If you need a ramp, those are ADA things. But it also does, I had a senior whose linoleum was all just tore up and it was a trip hazard. Yep. So we try to be as lenient as possible within the guidelines. So, but yes.
Impressive.
It is.
Anybody else have, this is good to
One
know.
last question.
Sure.
For the 80% of the median, what is that roughly?
I should have brought my sheet. So for a 1-person household, it's roughly $62,000 gross. Everything's by gross income.
Okay.
And so what, kind of how I explain it to my homeowners is if you have, let's just say $10,000 in the bank in your savings account, we don't count that $10,000. What's counted as towards income is the interest that's earned on that. So a homeowner may have money in their savings to cover all these expenses, but they don't want to deplete their savings, which is perfectly fine. That's why we're here. So utilize the grant and keep your savings to, you know, live and retire on. I have to tell you guys, I've worked for the city for 26 years, and this is my most favorite thing I do for the city.
I love this program.
Dope.
I just do. I love helping our homeowners.
Yeah.
I really do. The stories I hear, and I don't want to get emotional, but it's
It's good for the environment too.
in well in that too.
It's all good.
Oh, yeah, that's why we're here.
It's all good.
But
Thank you.
when you see the joy on some of the, especially the older citizens that are, you know, 80s and living on, I gotta just be real honest. Sometimes when I see these incomes of what these folks live on, I'm just shocked.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not the bad.
Well,
Well,
thank you for doing what
I'm
you're doing.
available. Any questions,
thank you.
email me. I'm happy to answer any. And sorry, but I gotta shoot down to the planning
Well, it's
commission meeting.
Thank you.
So sorry, but thank you for all your work that you do.
Thank you, Nancy.
And I was not on it, but I staffed the original, it used to be called Clean, Green, and Proud.
Oh, wow.
Then it
Okay.
went to KEB, and then
Okay.
it's now This Is Fair.
Well, you can come join us
Yeah.
anytime if you want to ditch planning commission.
Yeah.
That would have been nice last week.
But I won't swap spots with you. I'm just putting that on the
Yeah, I know you will. Oh, sorry, did I just-
thank you, Nancy.
Oh, you're good. I got
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Hi, Regina. Hi, Chelsea. So great to have you both. We had Nancy go first just because she had to hop to another meeting. So thank you so much for being patient with us.
So, please introduce yourself and take it away.
Who do you want to take it away?
Yeah, maybe it would be great to have you both introduce yourself and what organization and your title, and then we can, for presentation, kick it off to Regina and then end with Chelsea, if that works for you both.
Perfect. So Chelsea, you're on deck.
All right. Hello, Regina. By the way, I feel like this is the first time we've ever officially seen each other in person, or like not in
After
person. But
talking for years,
I know, so bizarre. Hello everyone. My name is Chelsea Gaines. I work with a local nonprofit called Grid Alternatives, and I am the outreach manager for that program. And yeah, today I'll be coming in talking about. I don't know if we're following the order of today, or is it if what's going on there, but yeah, I'm stepping in for Raquela, who was supposed to be here today. So please forgive me if I come in not really knowing what the right proper order of things are going to be. But yeah, and we have many programs, which I won't get into right now because I think it's just the intro. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Regina.
Well, hello back to you, Chelsea. Like I said, after all these years, finally putting a face with a name. I'm Regina Bosma. I'm with Arapahoe County Weatherization. We are part of the Community Resources Department. Our division is Weatherization. I've been there for 16 years, providing services for our income eligible clients. And that's pretty much the intro until you are ready to hear like what our program does. So nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think we're ready to hear. Please enlighten us.
Yeah, Regina, go ahead if you're ready. And feel free to
Oh, okay.
say
So now I'm on the spot. Okay. I see how it goes. I
Let's
came
go to
late.
Chelsea
So I
on the
was like,
spot. You know
oh, we're going to let Nancy go first, but now you're on the spot because you started.
And goes on mute.
It's all right. It's all right. So, Arapahoe County Weatherization. While we are Arapahoe County, all of the agencies under the umbrella of the Colorado Energy Office, which is who funds our program under the Weatherization Assistance Program here in Colorado, we are all broken down into territories. So we actually provide services to Adams County residents as well. Back in the day, we also did Broomfield County. It just became a little much. And as we all know, if you're familiar, Arapahoe County is huge. So we've restricted ourselves to Arapahoe and Adams County. I think we picked up Adams County in 1982. So like I said, I've been here for 16 years. I focus on the intake and outtake and outreach process. I'm administrative support all the way around, from my field guys to my office people to anybody else who calls me in the county and needs administrative support. That's what I do. So what we do is we, much like Nancy mentioned, if you're eligible, which I determine, then we schedule an energy audit of the home to identify the best ways to make it more energy efficiency, which also leads to home comfort. And we focus on health and safety and security issues. And then we provide those measures in accordance with the Colorado Energy Office policies, which are done by ranking. So I did hear a question or maybe comment earlier regarding whether or not customers can request things or specify. And we certainly do want to listen to homeowners. We certainly do want to hear what their concerns are. Oftentimes their concerns are outside of the scope of what my program is allowed to provide, but we recently have received a lot more funding. You know, we have House Bill 1105. We now have weatherization readiness funds, which is something completely new to us. This just started in July as our program year has kicked off. So that's actually kind of new and exciting, because before, if we walked into a crawl space that, you know, had moisture issues or there was a leak, it was simply, sorry, we can't help you, we got to walk away. Now we're able to go back and evaluate those things. We're working with putting out RFPs for different contractors, for plumbing, for abatement, for even refrigerator repair. If their refrigerator does not meet the usage requirements for efficiency trade, maybe we can help them get new refrigerant to make that one last. So that's been a different vein for us. We weren't able to ever do that before. So we're able to serve a lot more people this year. It's a little overwhelming, a little daunting, because now we have this money and it's like, oh, all these people that I otherwise would have been like, I can't help you. Now we can. It's just a lot. We're learning, but we've already been able to go back into a couple of homes and take care of some vermiculite issues that kept us from insulating the attic. We're working with a customer right now who we located some black mold, and it's extensive enough where we can't work there, but we have a contractor that can go in and try and take care of that. So we can then go back and provide those energy saving and safety measures to make sure that, you know, we're doing the best we can give them in their home, because essentially it's a one-time service. The Colorado Energy Office has a rule. It has to at least be 15 years before we can return to the same property. So we really are trying to do the best bang for our buck so that we can do everything we're there while we're there at that house, because 15 years is a long time. Things change, you know, who lives there, if it's someone who becomes elderly or disabled. We want to make sure that we're providing all of those services that we can while we're there during that period, because we realize it may be a long time before we can come back. We also partner with several other programs like CARE, you know, where EOC has grants for different things that we normally wouldn't do. So maybe in the WAT program, the Weatherization Assistance Program under the Colorado Energy Office, I can take care of your furnace and your water heater. But over here with CARE, we can take care of windows and a sliding door. Those are most commonly things that we're asked to do. So we try to be a one-stop shop. We want to make sure when we go, we're identifying every measure that we can, because we know it's going to be a long time before we come back. We did about 308 homes this past year, so I'm proud of that. And we've identified more health and safety concerns than I've probably seen in the last 5 years of being here. People that had headaches and people that were sick, just didn't know, literally have no idea that their house is making them sick. And it turns out to be, you know, a water heater that was flued down through the attic incorrectly, and a furnace that had high CO, but who knows how to identify that. So we've been able to do a lot more with the funding that's come through. We're still learning and we're still engaging in different contractors and services that we can provide. So it's kind of new again, even though we're on the same train, we're making some different stops. So it's evolved quite a bit in the last 8 years that I've been there. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. And I'm the girl Friday at the office. If you call and ask who really runs it, they'll tell you it's Regina. Wink. I kind of do everything. I work with my auditors. I'm the first point of contact for most of our customers. If I can't help someone, I recognize my programs like City of Englewood. Aurora has a minor home repair program. So we do a lot of things there where if you can come and take care of a major plumbing problem, then we can come back and, you know, insulate the floors and the crawl space. So there's a lot more building of relationships between other programs that I haven't seen the way that it is in the last 8 years. And I'm really happy for that and happy to offer that. So I think that's kind of us in a nutshell. If you have any questions, or if there's something you think I maybe missed, yeah, holler at me.
Thank you so much, Regina. I think we'll kick it over to Chelsea and then open for a general
Sure.
Q&A.
Cool. Thank you.
Alrighty. Well, I was told that we were supposed to do presentations, so I have one. Would that be helpful to use, or verbal conversations cool?
I think if you have it, feel free to use it.
Okay, sweet. I just didn't want to do too much, you know?
I'm the queen of it, so you're fine.
Okay, sweet. Let me present or start presenting on my end, and then I'll ask to share my screen. That's if I can find the present button.
It should be on the top to the left of your leave button.
Yes, I'm meaning on Google.
Oh.
Yeah, but anyway, I'll share and then hopefully you all can see it. And if not, then um we won't use it. Let's see. Can you all see this?
I see it on my end. I'm just gonna pull it up on our end over here. Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
sweet. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to present, but I can't see that. So for sake of time, I think, oh, maybe this. Nope, that's starting a meeting. All right, so as long as you all can see, great. Then I'll start talking. Yeah, I am with Grid Alternatives and my name is Chelsea Gaines. I am the outreach manager and I've been with Grid now going on 3 years. How Grid kind of started is we are a nonprofit, and our co-founders a long time ago saw that, there was a transitioning that was happening to renewable energy, and this was back in 2001. And it was pretty obvious who was being left out of that conversation, and it was low to moderate income households. And so they decided to create a nonprofit where they were empowering LMI households to be able to be a part of the solar discussion and save on their energy bills and also add value to their home. So that's just a little background about Grid. Our mission for Grid, Grid Alternatives, we envision a rapid, equitable transition to a world powered by renewable energy that benefits everyone. And with that, we particularly focus on LMI communities and underserved communities. And I have some slides on energy burden, but I'm going to skip that because I'm sure you all are all familiar with that. So Grid's key programs that we have many programs. So we have a single family solar program, which we provide free solar for income qualified households. So that's a really cool program, and we'll be talking about that mostly today. We have a workforce development program, and this program, we train people in the skill and trade of solar. And it's a 6-week training, and it's paid at, I think it's $17.25 now, an hour as they're with us. And they get their OSHA 10 certifications and NAPSAP certifications, which is their the industry standard for that. And that training is able to launch them successfully into a solar career, if they're interested in that. And then we have our clean mobility program as well, which is how we help navigate households to transition from carbon or from gas-led vehicles to electric vehicles. So those are our 3 programs that I'll probably touch on here today, with the focus and emphasis on our single-family solar program. So within our single family solar program, we have 2 programs. So one of them is our weatherization program. So in that weatherization program, we actually work with Regina and the folks at Arapahoe Weatherization pretty closely with that, as well as Energy Resource Center. And with this program, anyone who qualifies for WAP and has gone through a WAP service, so weatherization, which was what Regina was talking about earlier, and their home is eligible for solar, then they get sent over to Grid or a similar organization to be able to provide solar for that household. And again, that's 100% free, no cost to the client or to the homeowner, and that's funded by Colorado Energy Office via Arapahoe Weatherization or Energy Resource Center. So that's a really cool program. And then Grid also has our own in-house program, which is funded by CDBG dollars, which was talked about earlier. So, and that's Community Development Block Grant dollars. And with that program, we're able to partner closely with local municipalities to be able to help them hit their local energy goals. and carbon emission diversion goals that are pushed by Colorado, and to really help support them in that. But more importantly, to empower households to be able to take advantage of solar, free solar, no cost ever to them. And with our program, we're able to guarantee that we can offset up to 50 to 90% or more of their bill. Which we'll be able to know more once we do the analysis and all that stuff. And yeah, those are our two programs for our single family solar program. And so with that, I kind of made a slide on like what is the difference. And I think the thing is really the thing is nothing. Nothing is really different outside of a couple programmatic scope things between weatherization and our program. But for the most part, whether it goes through weatherization then to us, they're maximizing the benefits of saving with solar, and then also the savings that come with an energy audit on their home and electrification and all that stuff, and sealing of insulation. And if they come to grid first, we always strongly encourage that our clients go through weatherization. So Regina's familiar with me sending people who say yes, as well as our other partners, because solar is great, but solar and weatherization maximizes insanely an insane amount of, and for clients really when it comes to savings, it can be the difference between a couple $100s. So it's pretty profound. So that is our single family program. With I know there was a question earlier about what is the AMI guidelines for the metro area. So I threw in this slide just to kind of give an idea of what it looks like per household, because it's not just a one size fit all, it's based off of household size. So the bottom number is that cap for the household size, meaning if it's over 80%, typically for most government programs, we unfortunately can't serve them. But if it's beneath that price, then we can serve them. And for a one-person household, it is $66,300 is the average for an annual household. And for an average four size family household, it's $94,650. So pretty awesome. Caps. And with our clean mobility program, this program in particular, we have partnered with Excel to be able to help educate their constituents on rebate programs that are available to them. So not only when we talk about electric vehicles, rebates on the local utility scale, but also on the state level, local level, and federal level. And with this program, depending on how people stack up the rebates, they can essentially save up to $19,000 off of a new electrical vehicle, which is huge. And the cool thing about this program too, this actually program was launched before all the cool initiatives that are coming down the pipeline with IRA and the greenhouse renewable bills and all that stuff. Excel added a rebate for used vehicles as well. So someone can purchase a used electric vehicle and still get a $3,000 rebate, as well as they'll be eligible for a home rewiring rebate if they are homeowners, to be able to essentially this rebate covers the cost of them installing an at-home charger so that they don't have to worry about, going to local chargers to charge their car. They can charge it at home. So that is that program. And then the last program that I'll talk about today is, which I touched on a little bit before, is our workforce development program, which is the installation basics training, which is really empowering people in the metropolitan area to be able to enter into the renewable energy sphere, particularly through solar, to enter into a more lucrative field, enter into one of the number one growing field in the country right now, as well as just start something new. So with this program in particular, again, it is a 6-week program that's paid at $17.25 an hour. They get their first aid certifications, their NABCEP training, which again is that industry standard certification that helps them in the field. They also get their OSHA 10 certification, travel stipend for gas weekly, resume support and soft skills support, and then our solar showcase, which is where we bring in our partners that are solar, who are in the solar industry, to come out at the end of each training to be able to interview clients on the spot or training on the spot. And that solar showcase looks different each cohort. They get to decide what they want that to look like, if it's a working resume type thing or if it's a sit down, let's chat type thing. But the point of it is getting our trainees in front of the people who will hire them and can hire them. And then this is Grid's impact report for 2022. We had over 7,000 hours of solar workforce training through that installation basics training program. And we took out over 11,000 tons of carbon from the air based off of installations that we've installed in cars that we swapped from gas to EV. And then we installed 91 solar systems last year. That is everything from me. Now I'll leave room for questions, and I'll leave this slide up so you all can see where to lead people to if they have more questions about the program that's outside of our website.
Chelsea, are y'all multi-state?
So yes, we are. We are the largest nonprofit solar installer. So we're actually international, but we are the local office in Colorado. So we also have offices in California, Maryland, in the DC area, and then internationally in Nicaragua and Nepal.
Wonderful.
Chelsea, what's the demand? I mean, are people lined up for these programs and services, or do you have to go out and communicate and promote to get more takers? I mean, it sounds too good to be true. I mean, there's some really good stuff here.
Yeah.
Does the world know about it?
Yeah, so I think that is the issue, or like the constant struggle that we have at Grid is and I'm sure Regina has this as well, is it's incredibly hard to sell something free. Incredibly hard, because the reality is like, I mean, if I were to come in and ask you what we all probably heard growing up many, many times, is if anyone tells you it's free, it's a scam. There's a catch, right? And the reality of it is that there is no catch, right? So I think what we do, because we are working with communities that do get targeted a lot with scams, we don't tell them to like put down their barriers, right? We work with them on actually that concern that you have, that is a valid concern, and you should have that even after you work with us. So we walk them through how it works. It's free to them, but there is a cost associated. It's just they're not paying it, someone else is. A program that we secured the funding with, or that we have a sponsor who appreciates the work that we do and they donate to us directly, or we work with local governments, right? So but that is the hardest thing, is selling something free.
Chelsea, do you have someone with whom a person would, if they got involved with the program, is there someone who's a sort of a point person, ombudsman kind of person that walks them through this? How do they work through that system?
Yes, so we have 4 coordinators on our team, and they walk people through our programs that we have at Grid. So when we have an initial conversation with them, we're able to talk about all of our programs and ask them which ones are of interest to them, so that we can then customize their journey with us at Grid. And then, as always, we always push them towards weatherization as well, because most of the time clients are coming to us because they're trying to save as much as they can. And the reality of it is when you partner, again, we can single-handedly decrease their bills by, from 50 all the way to totally wipe out their bill. Outside of that, utility fee that is on every bill. However, we partner them with weatherization. They're now actually building their solar bank, right? Where there are times in the winter or even today, like it was really cloudy, sun's not really hitting that module, right? So they're not really producing anything. But if they have credit in their bank, they're able to still pull from the utility and then offset whatever they're pulling from the utility with the credit in that bank and still save. So the maximization there is almost crucial to helping clients either decrease them significantly or get rid of their bill in totality.
So if we were to help you, if the Sustainability Commission was to do you right, what would you have us do?
I think the ask from the Sustainability Commission would be to help spread the word. I think we definitely have funding in Arapahoe County, and strategically, our office, we always try to reach out to local, to not only partner with the county that funds us, right? To be like, hey, like, let's do some co-branding so that we can really kind of get ahead of that. This isn't real. This is a scam type thing. So I think also partnering with local cities too, right, with your constituents to really be like, this is a vetted program that's real. Please go for it. Utilize these dollars. So I think that will be the ask there.
I wonder if we ever had a booth at the Englewood Block Party,
Yeah.
if someone like Chelsea would come,
See, now that makes sense to me.
right?
You know,
Come partner with us in that way.
Regina, what about for you for the Sustainability Commission?
I absolutely mirror or echo what Chelsea is saying. I think like I said, I've been here for a minute. I think one of the hardest things that I face with outreach is one, it's hard to sell a free service. You would not believe how hard it is to sell a free service, because there are scams and our elderly, our senior citizens on fixed incomes, our disabled community from, citizens that did serve, citizens that didn't serve. We have a huge population of both. And I think that they are the vulnerable class. And so there's a lot of mistrust there. And I understand it. I deal with it every day. So that's number one. I think number two is, and I'm the tough guy in the office. I'm happy to help people. I will go the extra mile. I've gone into homes to fill out applications in person. I've had people over the phone who, are like, I've had a stroke. I don't write very well. Can you help me with this application? I've had people, just last week, I had a lady who said, I'm not very literate. I'm 73 years old. Me and my brothers were forced to quit high school in 8th grade. I don't read and write very well, but if you can walk me through this, I can apply, which I've done. I've sent my guys out to their house with highlighted areas. Can you sign your name, ma'am? Okay, cool. We can get you going. So I think if I were to ask for anything, it would be outreach to let people know that we're here and that we're vetted and that we're legit. Because one of the things that I have a hard time with outreach, and I'm very picky about it because of that, is you go to these functions. I've done Commerce City, or I did, excuse me, I haven't for the last 4 years, but I did Commerce City, and we used to do this big presentation at Holly Park, balloons, the water slide, the whole gizmo. But it ended up being kind of what I've labeled a dog and pony show. People come with their bags, they want swag, they want magnets, they want pens. No one took an application off my table. People stopped to talk about what I did, but nobody really engaged in grabbing this for themselves, because it still seems like something that's like, oh, well, I just need to pay my rent. I'm not worried about what insulation looks like. So the connectivity is disconnected. And I think the more that we get the word out about, one, we are legit, we're vetted, and we really do provide a good service, and you don't have to pay for it, because we already recognize that you are in a high energy burden constitution, and we want to try and minimize that. I think that's probably the biggest challenge for me. And so if there was anything I would ask, it would be to say, hey, weatherization, we're doing this. This has been successful in the past to let people know what services are there. You're invited. Woohoo, I'm in. I think just continued word of mouth. Some of our best customers come from neighbors who see our trucks and who then call and go, hi, I was talking to your furnace guy, Larry, and my furnace hasn't worked in 2 years. Do you think you can help me? Yep, let's go. I think communicatively for me, that's the biggest piece that is helpful. We already have money, and I don't say that flippantly, but there's money there. We got more money handed to us than we know what to do with. It's like, oh, we can do these things, we can do these things. But where are the people who know that we can do these things and that we will do these things and that they will not cost them? We're not going to put a lien on your house. You're not going to be kicked out of your home because we come and do improvements. And I just think we need to continue to stack the trust on top of that, vetting the programs and letting people know that, no, this is legit. If you call Regina at Weatherization, she's legit. When someone calls me and says, hey, I got a call from Chelsea, they're scheduling a site assessment for solar, is this you? Yes, it is.
Okay.
So I hope that makes sense without sounding negative. It's just, it's kind of a desperation, but it's a desperation of wanting to partnership to really make sure, hey, we're here and it's legit and we can help you.
Well, and I don't want to steal all the thunder, but others can chime in, but what I'm hearing is we could help you through endorsement, education, and communication. And if we could figure out ways to help endorse, educate, and communicate within the city of Englewood, that might be a good thing. Now, we can't solve that tonight, but I think we can talk about this at other meetings and perhaps come up with strategies of how can we move this forward. I mean, I would like it to be more than, this was very interesting, God bless you, goodbye, go forth and do your good work. I would like us to be able to help in a meaningful way. And like I said, it's going to take some thought on our part, but I, for one, would be enthused about trying to make something happen in Englewood.
And I would love that too. And I've had conversations with Mel before, and there's a lot of old inventory in Englewood. A lot of our houses there are older inventory and require a lot more measures. Yeah. Which in turn ends up being kind of a stopping point because there's so many other issues that we have to get past before we can do weatherization. Right. But like now, we have readiness funds. So now I can go in, I can take care of knob and tube wiring for $20,000 in a house where I couldn't do that 4 years ago. But let's make sure that the communication is out there and the knowledge is out there and the vetting is out there so that we can go, hey, we can come into your house and do this and then turn it around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I please, anybody else ask a question. I'm managing the clock here, trying to get us through. Yeah. I mean, this is fascinating. I don't mean to be rude, but.
We could spend the whole night. Mel, question for you. Do we have links to the weatherization program on our engaged page? And if not, should we?
On our engaged page, probably not, but on our website, I would have to check.
Okay.
But if not, I can definitely have that added.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and Mel, just to add in, Arapahoe County, we just launched our online application. It's now a year old. It's been very successful. Built it from the ground up with our IT department. So you may want to, we can talk later, but you may want to add that link because it's a lot quicker. And a lot more efficient. People are on tablets and smartphones, and so it's been really good to get people to apply.
Also, we would love that link as well. So you don't have to get bombarded by our emails. And I think too, like the low bar ask for grid, right, is much more people, and I hope that's what I was trying to show by putting the AMI guideline on here today on our presentation, is that much more households qualify for our program than they think. They automatically think that, oh, it's free and it's government. I make too much. And that's the cool thing about AMI is that it's not a one set rule for every city in our nation. It's based off of the area. It's based off of, local dollars, local household size, and all those things. So because Denver is the metro area is incredibly expensive to live, and that's getting more and more, it's getting more and more home every year. Our AMI guideline is incredibly high, right? So I think the ask would be for you all is if you know of anyone who's getting solar or even your constituents who are going solar, to send them to Grid First, because if they qualify, great. If they don't, now they know of this program and they can spread the word, and they're eligible for a $200 referral. And that doesn't cap because, we're serious about trying to cut back on greenhouse emissions and empower communities to be healthier, cleaner air, and cheaper bills.
Okay. Thank you very much. You've given us too much to think about. I'm not gonna let this die on the vine. We're gonna be talking and thinking about it. I know we'll have ideas that we need to germinate, and we'd love to help you. So, thank you. We may have to ask you to come back again or join in some of our efforts, but it sounds like you'd be more than willing to do that, so.
Yeah,
100%.
I'd be happy to. Thank
Really?
you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the invitation. I
Sure.
really appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Regina. Thanks,
Thank you both for your
Chelsea.
time.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank you
Appreciate it.
as well.
Okay.
All right. This is
Many,
Okay.
many
good.
questions, not enough time.
That's a treasure chest.
Yep.
This is a good flow into what the city is doing for our low-income energy efficiency plan. I'm just going to give a quick update. Can you all see this? Yes. So the city has been working on our own low-income energy efficiency. Low-income energy efficiency kind of like strategy or plan. As you've heard from all these great organizations, there's a lot that we're missing. So I've been doing a gap analysis of our participation in other programs out there, and it is pretty startling. We have really great participation in Nancy's program. All these other ones, that's free money, doesn't cost Englewood a single dime, very low participation, and people can get a lot out of them. So that's what that gap analysis has uncovered. We also, it's just obvious that we need an increase in collaboration with our nonprofit partners who are truly experts in this space, but also have trust with these communities that we really want to impact. Sometimes government is just a scary entity, and it's not that great of a person to go into communities that don't trust it. So for our outreach, one of the ways that we're doing it is we have a survey going out to folks at the neighborhood nights, and we specifically pick parks that are located near or in low income median areas. And we give financial incentives for folks to take a survey on energy efficiency. We're doing it 2 times. I've done it once so far. And 92% of the survey respondents from the first one said that I listed all these free energy programs, Grid was part of it, and way more. 92% they said they had never heard of any of those programs, not even heard of the name. So we're going to do this again, which you all are welcome to come if anyone wants to table or even just to go. We're going to go on August 24th at Neighborhood Nights at Baker Park to do the same. We're also doing a mobile home parks outreach specifically. So the Colorado Energy Office has this really cool tool called LEAD. It's the low income efficiency tool. I'll send it in a link. And it goes down by census area of what your demographics are for your most energy burdened communities. And we found that our mobile home park communities are the highest. And so how do we genuinely do outreach to an area that the city has been lacking doing outreach to? So we're working on that right now with Madeline Hinkfist, who some of you hopefully know is our neighborhood resource coordinator, the most amazing human, and also our public information officer too, to see how can we best approach this community that's in need. So any questions there?
Yeah, lots.
I know, I feel like we're throwing so much at it. I will say also, so
I'm
the draft,
intimidating.
whenever this draft plan is done, which I don't want to say when, we don't want to put a timeline on it because community outreach is super important and you don't want to put a deadline on those. If
Yeah.
the community needs more time, they need more time. But for the draft of this plan, when it is in draft form, the commission will get to review it, get to give feedback on it. So this is by no means the last time you're going to hear of it.
You know, it seems to me that there's a lot of good things going on. The county, the state, the city. And here's the Sustainability Commission. And it's like, where do we connect? Where do we help? There's of 25 really good sustainability related things that are happening out there. What do we bite into? Well, you know, and I don't know the answer to that, but I think that's our challenge. We can't be everything to all people, but can we focus on something? I mean, Logan's idea for, block parties. I haven't been enthused about block parties because I don't want to hand out balloons. But if there's a block party where there's meaningful information and there's relevant applications for programs, I can get behind that. I mean, that's real. So I guess we turn to you to some extent. You know, don't be shy about suggesting where we might do the most good.
One of the biggest things, and this goes even beyond Sustainability Commission, is since you all are residents, we really hope that you are going to your friends and your neighbors in Englewood and talking about what you hear. Like, that is community engagement in and of itself. It's like having those conversations. Whatever you all want to do extra from that is always welcome and appreciated. If you all did want to table, you all know that the commission can table at any city event. You just need to give, Tony would appreciate like a 2 weeks head notice, just so she knows, but always, always, always welcome.
2 weeks isn't bad, but when you think about the Englewood newsletter, that has a lot more lead time. I would really like to see this commission get in the habit of having a feature in the quarterly.
Yeah.
It's quarterly, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the quarterly.
A full page, I would have to ask them. Even sustainability stuff, I get little pockets.
Really?
But yeah, like the newsletter is absolutely a choice that you.
Like, why can't we, you know, one quarter focus on weatherization?
Yeah.
Or the E3 program, or plug something, or we plug tree ordinance, or there's just a different theme each quarter. And we bake that into our monthly meetings of just a schedule of like what's upcoming.
Yeah. If we could commandeer a quarter page, I think we could put a lot in there.
Half would be nice.
And whether it's just a short explanation or a link. Weatherization, here are 3 links, check them out. I mean, that alone, I think would be helpful.
Yeah.
And it's endorsed by brought to you by the Sustainability Commission. We're trying to spread the word. That's what they're asking for. So I think we need to be doing something in this direction.
Are we getting into quarter 3, or, I mean, have we already missed that deadline probably, but.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
Maybe
I
if we
want to
can-
see us, but I could be wrong on that.
You know, keep that as like a standing,
Yes.
you know, item in our agenda of thinking about communication, whether that's a social media post, which you've been fantastic on pushing. I've loved seeing all of the
Thank you.
sustainability related posts coming out in the last 6 months.
Sure,
now.
communications is so tired of me though.
I don't care if they're tired of us. Like it's good content. But then, you know, how can we build on that? You know, only so many people have Instagram or Facebook. I don't know what other mediums are on.
They do use Nextdoor, which I know is really popular in Englewood.
I see them on Nextdoor.
So they post anything that's typically on their social medias, they'll post on that.
And then print. I mean, I read the Englewood newsletter. I don't know if anyone else does.
And what about like flyers for like the neighborhood nights and the block parties and stuff, like about these programs?
So for the neighborhood nights, the one I went to, but that's a good point if I'm not there, you know, who's dispersing them. I printed out stuff for the Arapahoe County weatherization. And then on the surveys, it had a list of all the programs. And I actually gave my business card out to people, and we have been emailing and having a conversation about it. So even just that one night was really fruitful, which is nice. The $10 Nason's gift card probably helped, but it's like, please take my survey, here's $10.
But I love that idea of something tangible to take home. That's, you know, I can revisit on sitting on my table for a couple of days, you know, or something. I don't know. I know there's a cost to that.
Or like bill inserts, you know, everyone opens the
Sure.
bill.
Right there.
Could that be
These
something,
kind of utilities, this should be a insert that can go in our utility bills.
like, hey, did your bill
With
give
links.
you heart palpitations?
Has links, or with a QR would be the ID. You just put it there and it takes you right to where you need. I had a discussion with our city manager about this a couple of days ago, and he said he is pushing to try to get more information into the utility bills, because that's the only way you reach. A lot of these people, they don't have computers, folks.
Right.
They don't, she's talking about, well, you can do this and do that, and I'm thinking, I'm sorry, the neighbors that need this the most are the ones who don't have the communication.
Yeah, an insert too, that's hard to like, a scammer that'd be very impressive.
Well,
In their bill.
it legitimizes what they're doing because it's
Yeah.
coming from a trusted source. And that's why I think we need to push on that.
Just one thing that we do, because you mentioned Madeline Pincus. So I'm a neighborhood lead, and I really think it comes down to people that know their neighbors. I mean, when they were talking about it, it's like, I'm thinking about like all my neighbors. And we have a good pulse on that. And we do like a neighborhood newsletter in my community. And so it probably goes out to about 25 homes. And we just have like highlights on different things, but we just really have a good sense of the people around us. And so if we hit the people that are like the neighborhood leads,
Right.
I think that might be a good means of communication and just getting the word out. Because they can spread the word and just say, hey, if you know of anybody, close neighbor, whatever.
I love that organic communication. And I've sort of tried to bark up that tree a little bit, and then with Madeline, trying to get a list of the leads of each neighborhood group, and just to let them know that we exist as we were a new commission last year, right? And I didn't get very far before we had a kid, but that's something I'd like to explore more. So I love that idea.
I will bring it up at the next meeting.
Would it be helpful if, well,
Because I have a whole list of all the neighborhood leads, and they're all saying that. It's like, hey, how can we, communicate with each other? And so I asked for that, and so I'm happy to push them.
Love it. Yeah. Plug there. Okay. How often do they? Once a month? They're
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
So I think fall will be meeting again.
I'd
But
love
I can choose something done.
I'd love to attend. What neighborhood are you in? Well,
You're
they
in
just read it.
Hawthorne. Yeah.
They just read it all of the neighborhoods. I'd love to attend if you could provide a date through Mel.
Yeah, and they do. They invite anybody. So.
I don't know if we have a neighborhood. Does Duncan Park have one?
Yep.
I'm getting off topic now.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, she's great.
Okay, let's connect.
Okay.
I'll be quiet, sorry.
No. Hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. There's all these great ideas. We should do this, we should do that. Well, why don't we do this?
The meetings are for simmering, and then when you can't sleep, that's when all the creative
Yeah.
stuff happens.
I'm going to segue if I can,
Sure.
because it does, what we're talking about relates to what I'm going to say, which is things keep popping up, and I think, I want to keep you all informed of things I'm thinking and doing, and also as we move towards consensus, I hope we can row in the same direction. So as an example, the tree ordinance. I hope in the next meeting or two, we can come up with a message to City Council, which is our recommendations on a tree ordinance. I asked Mel to send that blurb out to all of you, and that was a compilation of things that have been said and done, and it's a working document. I hope you'll print it out and mark it up or write in the columns or whatever, but I would ask you, prior to the next meeting, could you send Mel any thoughts, agreements, disagreements, additions, deletions, and then I would like Mel to put that into a draft memo that we could look at the next meeting. And then we could pick it up from there. We could hone it, we could modify it, and then we'd be well on our ways to getting a message to City Council. So thank you for everybody who has put some words on paper so far. please do that. And I hope Mel gets enough that she can edit, streamline, and put together what would be a professional communication, Sustainability Commission to City Council. So that's my homework assignment request to all of you.
So you'd like to have something for consideration for October?
Yes. Yes.
A draft
Yep.
per se?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what would that be? If we came to a consensus next month, it would go out after that meeting, correct?
If you finalized it, yeah.
If we finalize it. And like I said, I think we're pretty much in agreement. I mean, I don't want to get granular on this because we have to catch ourselves. It's not our job to write a code for the city. It's our job to give them compass readings. And then they write the code. And they don't have to do everything we suggest, but we have a duty to suggest. So that's, it doesn't have to be perfect. I think it has to be directional of what we said in the city
And that's
council.
what Joe said
Yeah.
too.
So please do your homework and please do that. Another thing that came up at the last meeting, when grassroots citizens bring things to our attention, I don't want to forget about it. So the concept was, gee, there's a code ordinance about weeds. There's lots of weeds in Englewood. People are getting their weeds cut. They're getting notes on their door. And then they're worried about their pollinator garden getting mowed down. Those are all valid concerns. And sometimes we get a little off the deep end in some of these things. But the request came through me, which is, could the Sustainability Commission make a recommendation to code enforcement regarding, can you talk about pollinator gardens in your weed ordinance? And again, I don't want to get granular on it, and we don't have to do anything, but what I would like to do, Rick and I sit on that code enforcement committee. I would like to give that committee a heads up that we're talking about this. And we might have a recommendation for you so that they know what's brewing. Rick, does that seem logical?
That makes a lot of sense. We have had discussions about this at the meeting already. The thought and the think is that these people who are going out and do the inspections are knowledgeable enough, or educatable, I guess is a better way to describe it. They can be educated on what is and what is not a weed, per se. But I think that if we gave them specific directions because of our knowledge base on what to look for, when you walk up, what are you looking at? Okay, and instead of issuing the citation, you have that discussion with the homeowner, and those types of things. That's where we're kind of trying to get to on the committee, so.
And so, I mean, we're almost through the summer anyways, but I do think there's a logic of sustainability, talking about pollinator gardens in Englewood, how it relates to enforcing weed ordinances. So if it's okay with this group, I would ask, can Rick and I talk about this at the next code enforcement meeting? We won't decide, vote, or promise anything to anybody, but I want to give them a heads up because it does dovetail into the conversation that's happening over there. So if you're okay with that, we will proceed. And we may put that on the agenda next month just to give you an update. And we'll probably get some feedback from code enforcement about this is a good idea, a bad idea, or what have you.
And if there's anybody from the committee who wants to come and speak in the public forum to the group about this, I think that adds value to it.
Please do. Those meetings are getting more interesting as well. And then the third item I had. Go ahead.
Quickly clarify on that. So right now, is the code just a blanket, like so many inches?
6-inch weed.
Any designation for?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is discretion. They have a group of people who go out and do these. And they basically grid the city off and hit different areas. And it's not that they're immune to it, but you can head this off by a discussion in front of the citation, and that's what we're trying to do.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to charge ahead. So, I think the conversation is healthy. I think it's good for committees to talk to committees, and we are all grassroots, and they're grassroots, so this is what people are talking about. And then the third thing, not getting into the weeds on this one, but what's an ad hoc committee? What's a subcommittee? We didn't have a great turnout for our discussion, Matthew and Rick and Mel and I can't remember. And we need to be clear in our minds of what is an ad hoc committee, what is a subcommittee. Mel pulled up the bylaws, it's in here, we can read it. So the next time something comes up, I think we can quickly say, oh, this is just ad hoc. One idea was if we could do an ad hoc meeting before our regular meeting. So for example, if we had a normal monthly meeting, a half hour before the meeting, we could have an ad hoc
Like public
hearing type meeting on a tree ordinance. And that probably would have been the best way to do it. So please look at these, please read these, and maybe zoom in on that section about subcommittees and it, because we've confused ourselves, I think, a number of times.
And that's my fault. I also should have gone and read the Bible. The one thing I will say, so we didn't have anyone show up for the community tree meeting. We had posted it on social media and everything, and I told Mike that this is just a common challenge. It's community engagement across the board. It's not the topic, it's not the commission, it's just people, unless you have like a financial incentive or food, like it's, I'm not kidding, like say you got some grub and people will show up. It's hard to get people after work. I mean, it's amazing that you all even volunteer your time after work, honestly. It's hard to get people to come out. And so sometimes having those meetings before your commission meeting, at least then if no one comes or you don't have engagement, you're already here. Sometimes you can even put it out being like, hey, come to this hearing and then join our commission meeting right after. Like it just makes it sometimes flow a little better. But you guys always have free reign to do whatever you want. If you want to do an ad hoc, if you want to do subcommittee, always up to you guys. That's just my advice from doing community engagement.
The ad hoc though, if we did something a half an hour ahead, let's say, we would still need a quorum in order to have that, correct?
Yes, okay, so here's where the subcommittee comes in sticky. So remember last time we were like, well, we just do a subcommittee and then anyone can come. No, if you do a subcommittee, you have to have your members named and you can't have more than 4 because then that's not a subcommittee. Then that's just like past the quorum. So the way you all did it for the tree ad hoc was accurate, right? You want to make sure any commission member can come. And so that would be the 5. It just ended up no one showed. Well, none of the community showed, which was the caveat. And sometimes that happens. But yeah, if you wanted to do the ad hoc before, yes, you would just need a quorum of the 5. Thank you, Mike. You need the quorum of the 5 and then you're good.
Ad hoc just means unplanned.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had successful subcommittee meetings.
Yeah.
We've had several.
The energy memo one, that was a really good one.
I mean, native plants, I forget the name of the one that we put together, but I guess I'm frustrated by some of the rules around. I understand them, but it's just kind of complicates everything.
They tie our hands.
It's yeah, I feel like our hands are tied. Even when there's no voting matters, we're just trying to talk. But I get it. So ad hoc, it sounds like the best plan to be to do it before a scheduled monthly meeting. Is there something that needs to go out beforehand, communication-wise? I mean.
Yeah, and that's on me. So if you guys ever need a ad hoc meeting posted, I just need, I believe it's 5 days to post ahead of time. I'll post where it is.
5 days.
The meeting location cannot change. That's a big one. And then it just has to be accessible to the public.
Right.
And then we need a quorum at that meeting, at that ad hoc meeting.
Ad hoc needs quorum, but subcommittees do not. They just cannot be more than 2 members of this commission. But you can have.
Subcommittees between 3 to 4.
Oh, I didn't.
2 to 4, 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
I mean, but you can meet at any time that you want.
Can you so if not enough people come for the ad hoc, can you say, oh, actually, we're a subcommittee?
You can't listen?
No. Why you can't do that is because subcommittees are allowed by like the grace of the commission to be like, we're gonna allow you 3 or 4 to have this conversation without the majority of us here. We understand it's gonna be happening and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times with commission, not a lot of times, I take it back. Sometimes what happens with commission, say you 3 really have like a secret agenda that you want to accomplish and you go off on your own and the whole commission doesn't know about it. That's what they're trying to keep from happening. So it truly is like residents coming together and talking and discussing. but the subcommittee already has the graces of the whole group to have their own individual conversation.
A subcommittee's been created and voted on by the
Yeah, you have to
commission.
vote on it.
The 2 to 4 is news to me. Has that
The
changed?
3, so subcommittee, you can meet, so you and Cara meet.
Yep.
Anytime a commission members can meet in 2s. So like if Tiana and Rick wanted to grab coffee, and that's totally fine. You don't even need to vote or establish a subcommittee.
Could
for
we
that.
charge Tiana and Rick to go get a cup of coffee and collect your thoughts on communication strategy relating to weatherization and bring it to our next meeting?
Yeah,
We could do that.
yeah.
That's what I think we'll do.
Here we go.
Coffee or beer, I don't care.
Yeah,
Give me the
always
bullet
say
points.
2 is always a safe number. Always a safe number. Yeah.
Okay,
Volunteering, if it's not public, like decision
Yes.
related, so like Depot Park is just volunteering to do plants, you're
Yeah.
fine. But if you're volunteering, I don't know, to change energy codes, I'm not sure why you would do that, but that's when COML would come into play.
Yeah, so for like, we created the, sustainable landscape subcommittee, decided it's, 2 to 3. I think the 3 of us, kind of volunteered to participate in that, but it was that no more than 2 members can be in a meeting at the same time. Because then it's like the open meetings laws rule or whatever, so 2 is that the safe number?
Yeah, 2 is always the safe
Okay, so when meeting, it's 2, yeah.
yes.
can I charge, I mean, we meet once a month. If it's tomorrow afternoon and I get this great idea and I say, well, why don't Matthew and Tracy get together and talk about weatherization communication ideas, can I just pick up the phone and call them, or do I have to go through you? Do we have to have a meeting here to talk about that?
So
Like, how do you get that ball moving?
You can call one individual person.
Yeah,
You just, are you talking like subcommittee wise?
yeah,
You have to
subcommittee,
have the whole commission vote on it.
okay,
It can't just be you, even though you're the chair. The
Right.
commission as a whole has to agree that they want that subcommittee
Okay.
to happen.
Can you do that through email? Like
So
if
we-
you send
we
out an
talk
email,
about
say, please type back yes if this is fine with you.
I think it has to be on the record
I think it, let me check on that.
for subcommittee.
I want to say probably no, but I don't want to say that and be wrong. Let me check.
You'd be pleasantly surprised.
I'm
That's fine.
assuming
well, we've
no.
all been wrong so many times.
Me more than most.
Okay, let's rock and roll
All right,
here, let's
sorry.
get back.
Real
to
quick,
the
you know, this is
agenda.
Go ahead.
Well, to say, for the record, this committee does have a sustainable landscaping subcommittee.
And you all voted on
We
that
voted
a
on
while
that.
ago.
That exists, so
Yeah.
I think it probably
Yes,
predates
yes.
some of you, but we do have that, so.
Great.
Onward.
All right, now, vote on co-pays, is this just? that we
Yes,
process
okay, this
around?
hopefully will be back. So for the new folks that join, every year, the city of Englewood, in partnership with the city of Littleton, hosts a household hazardous waste and electronic equipment recycling event. It is very popular. 99% of my calls are about this event. But you all, since the Sustainability Commission, Keep Englewood Beautiful initially, created this event, you all have say in what the co-pays are each year. So for the past, I feel like forever, the co-pays have been $20. You guys can increase that, decrease that. I will say, if you decrease it, $20 is insanely good price if you look for getting rid of hazardous waste. Like insanely good price. And these co-pays go to helping the cities cover the overall cost of the removal, which if you saw these price tags are just insane. That's just my 2 cents, but it's totally up to you all if you want to keep or change them.
So how much does it cover, like percentage wise?
Last year, if I'm doing a rough guesstimate, because I haven't looked at the numbers in a while, co-pays helped pay for about like 12,000, and the total bill was almost like $70,000. So it helps a ton, but we're only asking people to pitch in a teeny tiny percentage of what they would pay. And I guess another good example, so Jefferson County has a household hazardous waste center that their residents can drop stuff off on, and even their residents pay $30. So this is even less than that, but it's only available twice a year.
I would say 1 out of 5 people come and have the actual like cost ready,
Yeah.
or like memorized, because it's a tiered system. You see $20 for electronic equipment. It's $20 for TVs and monitors, and then $10 for everything else. That's a little complicated, I feel like, just
Make a flat rate.
a flat rate, you know, but I want to make sure it remains equitable. Because to Mel's point, it is extremely popular, and it's a fun event to staff, volunteer whenever that comes up, plug. But that's the only thing, is it seems like people are a little confused on, most of the time they're paying too much, to be completely honest, when I do the math in my head and collect their materials or equipment. So I don't know if a flat rate would streamline that.
Well, I have to confess, when I did it, it's subjective.
It is a
So
little
if the
subjective.
little old lady said, do I have to pay for the TV? I said, forget it. Just,
Yeah, do what you got.
And don't tell me that.
you know, I mean, she brought the TV in, you know? So I think, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Or raise the rate, but keep it simple. Because it's nice if you're saying $10, you know, if you got a sliding fee scale or you have to go to a chart, it's ridiculous.
So like a flat 20?
It's okay with me.
I would vote for a flat 20. I'm
Yes.
proposing a flat 20.
I vote for
Across the
keeping
board.
it how it is.
Okay.
It's okay with me. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel.
Because if
about
it was a flat 20, couldn't you theoretically bring in like 10 TVs? Which would be $200 worth?
No, that's a good question. I thought it was like $20, you know.
It's
Do
20
a flat
per-
TV to a maximum of
I was
X.
looking at like a cell phone and like
For
an
each.
8 cartridge, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not $20.
And some people do just have that, right? So I think it's rough to say a flat 20 in the
20
sense
for
of like if
each
someone's just
TV.
dropping off a cell phone.
10 for all
Like a
other.
desk phone, like.
Some people come prepared, like they've got, here's 520, because I have, you know,
I will
3
say this
monitors.
year, we're gonna have a credit card reader, thank goodness. That'll make it.
Was it all
Yeah,
cash
just people will
before?
show
All
up, it
cash
is
and
cash.
check. I was like, who did this?
And you got some people who pull up and there's a line 50 long and they're writing
Yeah.
a check.
Exactly.
That's real
And I
cool.
never heard anybody
Venmo.
complain that it was too expensive.
You-
I've never heard anybody say
I've
$20.
never heard that.
So I guess my thought is streamline it and up it a little bit if you want, but make it easy on that poor volunteer who's just trying to get the line to move.
Up to you all. What
I
about,
don't want the situation where someone's bringing 10 TVs, right?
Well, it's just,
Well, that's gonna be $20 each anyways, right? Like,
But if it was
that's-
$20 flat, would they make 10 TVs and pay $20?
oh, are you saying $10?
Well, that was a clarifying question, so
$20
thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
10.
let's do it by item. If you said $20 per TV
I thought
or
that's what it
monitor.
is.
Oh, you
meant
meant
20
per item?
I mean,
right now it's 20
flat,
for
then I
each one.
reread it too.
Yeah,
It's like,
but then you got
that's
10 for this,
item.
20 for that.
That,
you know.
Yeah, but
But how many
I was
people find-
misreading it initially, like, it's probably not worth $20 for a cell phone. But it is $20 seems fair for a TV, so I actually support keeping it the way it is too.
Okay.
I would have to agree.
I don't, is there any disincentive
Yeah.
to this program?
I didn't think it was
Volunteering, it's
difficult
like-
figuring out the 20 and 10. That was just me.
Let's just approve it like it.
I just wanted to raise the point, that's fine. That's the only thing I've seen that sort of is a rub, is on the day of, is sort of the tiered and doing the math, but it's not that big of a deal.
I'll say the question again. Is there any disincentive, for those of you who've done this, do you have people walk away with stuff in their hands because they're not
No.
paying money?
No,
No.
we've had people beat us. I'll be back with my money in 20 minutes. And then they never, it's like one of those every year. But,
But they're recycling, and that's kind of the, I mean, they're
yeah.
getting
Yeah.
rid of it.
And that's the other side of it. Thank God they're bringing it in, so. What have we done here?
We fleshed out some ideas.
I think if you just if you just break out, like separate TVs and computer monitors, are their own section, this is $20.
Okay.
$10 for the list underneath here.
And
I
is
like
it,
that.
is it
Thank you,
$10 for
Becky.
each thing or $10 total if you have like?
Each thing. I do agree with Mike. Sometimes it's volunteer, like discretion. If someone has like this teeny tiny electronic,
Yeah.
like if they have like 5 of them, it's like, okay, $10, you know, like
Yeah.
for weird anomaly stuff like that, you can use discretion.
Yeah.
And people that show up to these events, I mean, they're bringing truck loads, and they have SUVs quite a bit of stuff. I mean, I don't know if I've ever just taken an old antiquated cell phone from somebody. Like,
Right.
it's usually substantive, what they're dropping off.
Like
So
a monitor or a TV.
The cost does offset what the city ultimately has to pay. They don't come empty-handed.
Well, I meant when I say, let's just leave it the way it is.
Keep it the way it is.
Great. I know, Mel, you had two big kind of posters last time for people who are driving in to see. That was helpful. It was just really windy.
I know, oh my gosh, I got my
Walk over.
steps in
Yeah.
trying to pick them up.
Okay, great.
Well, do you have to vote officially on it though?
So we're keeping it,
All right, all those in favor of keeping it the way it is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
easy enough.
When is
Thank you.
this?
So this is, we haven't put it out because we're just trying to get the finalized contract from the contractors.
Yeah.
But the almost definite dates are September 9th and September 16th. We typically, from last year, Tim, who's the guy over at Littleton, we said we can pretty much cover these days on our own. If you want to come and help, absolutely you can, but no one should feel obliged to by any means. Or if you want to stop by and drop off some stuff, I mean, we're gonna be there.
I think it's
kinda
fun.
cool
I think
to
it's
watch.
fun. Yeah.
I mean, there's a
It's-
line of people.
it's streamlined.
A
You
lot
get
of
a
people
free
bring-
tan usually.
Yeah. Do you get a tan because you're in a parking lot? Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Carol.
So we got our maintenance days scheduled and the first one kicks off tomorrow. So thank you, everybody, for voting and approving this and helping to get it done. And thanks to those who are participating in the maintenance days. So tomorrow kicks off training session, hour and a half of weeding. Dana has warned me the weeds are pretty bad, so we will take all the hands we can get. And then I think we meet again in like 2 weeks or something. But that is officially kicked off. Mel's gonna show up tomorrow with some volunteer shirts and extra supplies for parks and
What time? Sorry.
5:30.
I would encourage anybody, even if you just stop by for 10 minutes, just look at the garden and
If
see
you haven't
what's
seen
going on.
Depot, it is, it's worth checking out.
And it's interesting because I have a garden plot over there. A lot of the flowers are now dying, hence to weed and trim. But you can see the waves, like in the spring, it was just profuse color. Now things are withering, but there's also new growth coming in.
Right,
It's
second
pretty
wave.
cool to look at. I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, it should be fun, and just a good event, and, I don't know, hopefully we can do it every year, so,
Thanks for your work on that.
yeah.
Yeah, Rachel.
Thank you for doing that, Cara.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
My pleasure.
All right. September. Well, I had one I'd note. I would love to continue talking about what we learned tonight. What could we possibly do to help these programs or help Englewood? So I don't know exactly what that looks like on the agenda, but I don't want it to die on the vine. I'd like us to, maybe people could bring their thoughts or suggestions of ideas of what could we do. I think a lot of ideas pop up.
Can we ask like the presenters and stuff, like past and future ones, if they can send like little flyers or posters that we can have like physically, if we talk to a neighbor and something and we're like, yeah, wait, hold on, let me give you this thing that I learned so much about.
Yeah, I can reach out to them and I can print out a bunch of material and give it to everybody for next.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be
For, like,
really
all of
happy to
them.
do that.
On recycled paper.
On
Yes.
recycled paper.
Gosh, it's great.
I would like to see a standing agenda item to discuss sustainability related communications.
Yes, I like that. Let's.
To stay ahead of the ball there, because I feel like we find ourselves sort of, at least when in terms of the Englewood newsletter, sort of behind the ball, so.
It's a good publication too. I mean, I
It's
think a lot
well
of,
made.
a lot of people read it, it's well done and
Vanessa will love to hear that because that's her pride and joy
I'm
there.
impressed. But if people knew there was always a sustainability corner
Mhm.
or some section that says sustainability, that might be good.
Who was the person from communications that did talk to us?
Amanda. From last meeting?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe the fall magazine just came out. I guess just everybody got that? Right?
Yes.
So the winter, they're like working on stuff for the winter magazine now, but I don't remember what the
She didn't
deadlines
send
were.
me the deadlines,
Can we
and I just
track
realized that.
down? And I think, I don't know, I brought this up last time or whenever, but I really want to start talking about programs for next spring.
Mm-hmm.
And sustainability, working with some of the, just the folks that I spoke to, with, between Arapahoe County and the Master Gardeners and the CU Extension and whatnot, and just the programs that they offer. And I really want to get Englewood on the list for participating in some of the events that they do. So I want to make sure that we can talk about that and get our name out there.
And we might have other ideas between now and then, but
The ordinance, I could see taking a lot of time
Yeah,
too, so.
yeah.
You
That
always
could
wanna
be a
keep
priority.
yeah, we
that on
might,
your back burner.
we might need to spend some time on the tree ordinance discussion.
Well, that should be priority. And then, I lost my thought. Tree ordinance, check.
Communication.
I want to see the communications calendar, if that's possible. Just so I'll print it out and bring it
Yeah, yeah.
to every meeting. I can do that. Just so I can keep us on track.
Careful, we're gonna make a subcommittee out of it.
I don't know what's anymore, so great.
No, I agree. I think the subcommittee concept really makes sense because look what we're trying to cram into an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
And if we had actually standing subcommittees that were focused on, the trees, the tree
Right.
committee or something like
Right.
that, or the assistance committee,
Yeah.
then we've got work going on in the background. And they bring that to the committee.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss it and kind of ask questions of the people on that committee. But I would strongly encourage that we look at moving forward with more subcommittees.
I like that.
Do you want that for September?
I actually have a proposal. Could we vote on creating a communications subcommittee tonight?
Yes. And we might even suggest some subcommittees in September,
Right.
such as weatherization, green energy programs, energy, et cetera. So I agree, Rick. I think there's just too much to be
Too
done
much.
in one meeting. We can't.
Well, what would creating a communications subcommittee this evening look like? Do we need 4 members?
You need 3 to 4.
3
4
to
is your
4.
max. You can't go over
3 is a minimum.
3 minimum.
3 minimum.
Yeah.
I would be happy to be one of those 3.
Thank you, Logan.
You're welcome.
Any other volunteers who'd like to join Logan?
And we can flesh out what that looks like and,
Yeah.
we all have
Yeah.
day jobs and things like that. But I think it's just opening a line of communication with the city's communication team and being aware of their communications deadlines so that we can be pushing educational content out
Right.
through their mediums and working with them. So I'm happy to run point on that if 3 others want to join me.
I'm
1,
happy
2, 3,
to.
4.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm already on.
Patrick Tracy?
You probably already are thinking, you're saying this, but our commission can have a communication plan. So in other words, you've got your external audiences and mediums, and then as a group, we could say, these are our communication priorities for the next 12 months.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. We really want to communicate the heck out of this, this, and this. That would go hand in hand with what you're doing.
Fall is upcoming weatherization. Spring is around the corner. We
right.
talk Depot Park, we talk native
Yeah.
landscaping and prepping your home garden, things like that.
Biochar.
Biochar
Biochar subcommittee.
Biochar will make the cut.
Oh, by the way, the garden's beautiful, if I can say so myself. I've gotten compliments. And if you walk in, Rick, Tell
Oh my God.
It's different.
It's different.
Is it different?
It's different.
Yeah,
I'm telling
our
you.
open space manager.
Which side is getting more weeds? The biochar side?
Yeah.
The biochar side is thriving with weeds.
It's so
Different.
fertile, the weeds are going crazy.
Okay, you all do have to vote on that
Good thing.
committee, just don't forget if you wanna do it.
No, I think we do. It's been a while. I would entertain a motion to
Thank you.
create a communications subcommittee for the Sustainability Commission.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have a second? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We have a committee. Thank you.
Mel, I'll follow up with you on that point, and then we can circle in the four of us, and we can start that conversation and see
Perfect.
what's
That's
next.
great, guys.
Next
Thanks.
steps.
It'll be nice to be ahead of the ball on some of this stuff, so we're
So,
not trying to chase down a deadline.
Be thinking about spring right now. No, we have
Spring
to.
2024, it's gonna come faster than you think.
Okay, is there any other business or discussion that you all want to entertain? If not, meeting's adjourned. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys. Nice job, Mike.
Well, we only
We're a
ran,
tight ship,
we only ran over
8:10.
35 minutes.
35 over?
Mike was talking to Nancy, he's like, we're good at staying at an hour. I was like, Mike, you liar. You
I
liar.
meant to.
8 p.m.
But at
give or
least
take
it's for
10
good
minutes.
cause.
That's right, that's